we learn via language. I mean, we learn through many different modalities of sensory input: mental, emotional, kinesthetic, energetic, spiritual, through innumerable different modes. And this slide segues excellently into learning modalities and learning disabilities. So we would suggest that there are many generations of learning disabilities that have become ingrained into in somatically, as well as linguistically, as well as energetically, as well as tribally, as well as karmically and simulacrally, if it's okay to extend that word that way, in our world and in humanity. So much so that these learning disabilities keep us from evolving, becoming more conscious, transforming, solving the issues that we've generated for ourselves, or solving challenges that appear to be presented to us by nature, or the universe, or the world, or the natural world, in healthy, sustainable ways. So learning in all of its forms is vitally important to master. That doesn't mean control. It means to become adept at, consciously adept at learning, and learning in every way we possibly can, at every level of our system, holistically, comprehensively, in a grounded way. If we can't learn and ground what we learn so that it changes behavior and decision-making and emotions directly and immediately, then our learning process will lag behind. We can learn our way in a very superficial way. We could read every book in the world and hold all that information in our heads and not walk that talk, not live that quality of attained understanding in every dimension of life, in every relationship, and emotionally. So it's vitally important that the language technologies that we develop and evolve permeate all dimensions of human life process without negative effect, if at all possible. First, do no harm. There are language technologies, and we're not being critical in these statements. We're just describing what we perceive the panorama of communications. The utilization of memes in our world that take the face of a political figure and put it on a picture of Christ on the cross, so to speak, to try to embed into the collective thought processes of the tribe an illusion of the goodness of a particular political candidate, or the opposite of that, placing the visage or face of a political candidate on the body of the devil, so to speak. This utilization of memes is a mechanism of communication which is designed to strike people at subconscious levels and to define their decision-making and their fear process and their taproot process subconsciously, and to unground their capacity to learn any information that is not in alignment with those memes. How brutally dangerous is that capacity to communicate via that visual language of memes? And how beautiful a possibility is it to be able to see a child playing in a field and with flowers and having a happy life. How important to be able to not have those beautiful possibilities infused by these agendified, politicized, polarizing communications and dynamics on the part of any political party, on the part of any organization, on the part of any religious or cultural process that would vilify one. Does it make sense how divisive communication can be, as well as how unifying it can be. So we would suggest that communicating from any single chakra will be facilitative in some ways for other people. Simultaneously, it will create an incomplete communication, an incomplete understanding, an incomplete shared synchronization of reality. We all have 7 main in-body chakras. Recognized or not, we all sometimes communicate from one or more of them in a single sentence. We can say, "Oh, it's such a beautiful day yesterday, and I hated the way that my baseball team lost to that other terrible team. And gosh, my kids really enjoyed that game. And somebody died last week." How many chakras did we just move through in that single connected sentence? And how much of that would be a conscious communication? How much of that would be facilitative for comprehensive and optimized, attained understanding on the part of another human being? How much of that would they be able to resonate with personally? How much of that would they be able to process fully? Much of it depends upon their evolution of their chakras, their quality of consciousness, how much negative karma and filter and projections, obscurations and simulacra and tribal resonance and taproot resonance they're operating from. So communication isn't a perfect process, and we would not suggest trying to make it so. We can make it excellent. We can make it optimal, and we can tailor it with great precision, moment by moment, audience by audience, person by person, conversation by conversation, and topic by topic, if we choose to. It is feasible, just so we made this statement, for all of our chakras to be opened, evolved, highly attained in terms of their quality of consciousness, aligned with spirit at every level, in every dimension. It is a goal to aspire to. It is something to work for. It is a star to follow. Once that occurs, it is feasible for all of our chakras, whether you say there's 7 main in-body chakras or a dozen in-body and out-of-body chakras, or some texts would tell you, ancient text, 188,000 major and minor chakras, however many there are. It is feasible with enough evolution, enough resonance with God, enough alignment with God, enough surrender to God, enough healing of karma, enough transcendence of taproot and tribal dynamics and karmas to evolve all of that, to enhance it, to optimize it, and collapse it into a single point of consciousness, a single point of God-aligned understanding, a single point of love, a single point of communication and capacity that is lived from moment by moment, lifetime by lifetime, forever, if we choose for that to be so, if we intend it, if we work towards it, if we surrender to that as a goal and as a requisite requirement for optimized service. It's an option, it's a choice. Until we are there, we require language in order to facilitate others, to enhance their life process, in order to coordinate and orchestrate activities, to organize organizations, to manage and prioritize the applications of technology, information, knowledge, resources, in order to work together harmoniously, positively, constructively, efficiently, and effectively. There's another language technology called neuro-linguistic programming. It can be a very powerful mechanism. If we take the heart out of it, the soul out of it, the God out of it, it becomes a lifeless, soulless potential tool for manipulation. It is utilized today in marketing strategies and in most, if not all, to some degree, educational management seminars to affect cultural dynamics of organizations, and to try to align and subconsciously manipulate organizational dynamics to affect artificial alignment rather than unconscious alignment rather than conscious alignment, in order to create next quarter's profits, in order to get goals met, in order to diminish resistance within cultural populations that might actually be generative of healthier approaches. So these tools can either be, they can be a syringe to give us a vitamin, or they can be a syringe to administer a poison. They can be a delivery system for medicine, or they can be a delivery system for poison and unconsciousness, continued disunity, adversity, competition, ever complexified dynamics of competition, leading to potential horrors in our world, whether they be war, climate change, further damage to the environment, or manifestation of beautiful, wonderful futures that are sustainable and healthy and conscious and generative of conscious community and peace and harmony and love. This is the power of communication. This is the power of language. This is the power of conscious understanding of application of language, moment by moment, conversation by conversation, relationship via relationship. The language is the path and process, along with energy, along with emotion and love, of course, as the highest emotion, and consciousness. Language is the path and process of evolution of relationship, of the very simplistic and clumsy and simple model that we showed the other day of value proposition, engagement model, and evolution of relationship. If we understand what people need, if we understand what people most want and yearn for in their hearts and their souls, not in their taproots, not in their root chakras, not in their ego process, not in their identity, not in their personality, not in their tribe, not in their fear, in their souls. If we understand that and we resonate with that and we communicate with that and from that, and we offer that in every single word, in every single interaction, we will reach their souls. It may take time. Sometimes it's like pouring water on a duck. The water initially will roll off because of the oil on the duck's feathers. If you keep pouring enough water on the duck, you will soak the duck, even if it's got resistance to hearing the message. If we communicate with enough love, it will soak in. So the mechanisms, the processes that we apply, if we use metaphors in a very positive, loving, kind, consciousness-producing way, fantastic. If we use metaphors as tools of manipulation or control or affecting a specific intended agenda or result, or a taproot goal or result, or a tribal result, or a greed result, or a rationalized self-defensive result, we will not be optimally serving. So we suggest conscious application of every tool, every method, every technique, and always leading with love as our first and always highest priority, with equanimity, with equality, with humility, with recognition of our absolute equality to every other human being in the world. If we shift out of that recognized equality, even for a moment, we will diminish the quality of our communication. We will diminish the quality of our service. We will dim the light of our love. We will dim the service, the quality of service, the efficacy of the service, the efficiency of the service that we provide.